we're going to get started. I really appreciate your patience. This is a hybrid meeting, so we wanted to make sure that those that are participating online are able to hear, listen, and see everything that we're doing. So once again, thank you for bearing with us and for your patience. My name's Yvonne Garth, and I have the pleasure of being your facilitator for today's meeting. Before we get started, I wanted to go over just some housekeeping things, just to help set some expectations on how the meeting is going to run this evening. And then we'll jump right in. So again, welcome. We're really excited to be here today to give you an update on the City of Hollywood's new police headquarters project. We have a PowerPoint presentation that we're going to walk through. We have a team of from the city, the design team, all the consultants, and representation from the police department. So we're going to walk through the presentation. We do have 2 opportunities for the public to speak and offer comments or ask questions. About midway through the PowerPoint, we're going to pause and open it up for public comments. And then after the presentation, we'll have a second session for you to have an opportunity to ask questions. It's really important. We're here to hear from you, so we encourage you to please participate. We do have comment cards, so you should have received 1 or 2 when you signed in. You're welcome to fill out the comment card and turn in your comments, but if you'd rather just offer them verbally, then we invite you to do that. For the public that are, for the members of the public that are attending here in person, you will have 2 minutes to speak, either by comments or asking questions. I'll nudge you along about when you have 15 seconds left, so please be patient with me. For those members of the public that are participating via Zoom, we ask that you type your comments or your questions using the chat feature in Zoom. And once we've received all comments from everyone that's here in person, then we will read the comments that are submitted by via Zoom by the public. We do have a full agenda, so we'll try to move along pretty efficiently. And if I nudge along, please bear with me.
Good evening, everyone. As you said, Heron, Deputy Director of Design and Construction Management. Welcome. So this is our 3rd public meeting for the new City of Hollywood. The police department. Can you guys hear me? I feel like okay. Okay. Yeah, it seems like it's cutting in. Sorry about that. As you know, the police department headquarters is a significant project within the Go Bond projects, and we're excited to be here tonight to give you an update on all of the hard work that the team's been doing and taking place over the last couple of months since we met last in June. But before we dive in, we'd like to introduce the city team as well as the design team for this Go Bond project, both the ones here and then there's some in person and online. We'll then move into the project progress, where you'll hear about the project schedule, site plan, and overall design update. As Yvonne stated, we will break 2 times during the presentation for questions, and the team will also stick around after the end of the meeting if you'd like to come up and talk to us about the boards in the back. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Chief O'Brien to say a few words about the new police headquarters and his vision for the project. But before I do, I would like to thank the chief and all of your command staff for all of your collaboration through this design process. Your help is invaluable, and we couldn't have done it without these guys.
All right, thank you. Good evening. Here's everybody. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for being with us tonight. And I did get the hint, so I'll keep my words short here. So what an exciting time for us here at the city, not only for the police department, but for our residents as well. You know, we're at the point now where we can reveal the progress that we've made throughout this project, the entire team. And I first want to start off by just thanking the residents that are here today, because we wouldn't be giving this presentation if it wasn't for your support of our police department and voting for the bond in the referendum. We understand it was a significant price tag to pay for this building, but I think it's something that's well needed for our city, right? So at first, I just want to thank the entire team. Our design construction management team at the city has been phenomenal to getting us where we're at today. Our architect's been phenomenal. ODP, as long as Moss Construction, right, he's with us tonight to make sure that we're staying on budget, right, because that's one of the key goals for us. So, you know, when we originally started talking about what do we need for the building and what the vision looks like, we wanted to make sure that this building is aesthetically pleasing, seemed warm, inviting, was accessible to our residents. And we also had goals of being on budget and being on time. And I can tell you that we're right where we need to be at this point in time.
So at this time, introduce the City of Hollywood team first. So Jose Cortez on the left is our fearless leader and director of design and construction management. You've already met me, but again, I'm Nicole Heron, Deputy Director of Design and Construction Management. We have Dana Nelson here tonight. He is our Engineering Support Services Manager for Construction and Design. And then Heather Gano, a special thank you to her. She's Project Manager and PE who has led this team fearlessly to get to where we are today. Collaborative approach, thank you. Yay. The collaborative approach throughout every phase of the design process to date has been amazing. We have challenged this design team to think outside the box and to deliver the PD and the city's vision during unprecedented. They have and continue to rise to that occasion. And thanks HOK team on. So next, I'm going to turn it over to Ed O'Donnell. And 19 back to talk about a few other team members.
Can you hear me? Okay, is that better? Is that better? I can just talk loud. How are you this evening? My name is Ed O'Donnell. I'm from ODP Architects, and we are the architect of record. We're headquartered here in Hollywood, Florida, and the project manager for our firm is Carlos Echeverria, who is not here this evening, but joining us this evening is our team from HOK, HOK Justice Design in Washington, D.C. You'll hear tonight from Rob Utek Hung and Zinyi Pan, who is our landscape designer.
Awesome. Thanks, Ed. We will talk a little bit about the radio tower. Our team from GM Selby is here, both Gerald Zadikoff and Alex Gill, as well as our construction management at risk partner led by Jeff Bennell. Next, I'll turn it over to Heather to talk about the schedule, the project, and our site plan.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to attend this public meeting and giving us the opportunity to update you on the progress for the new police headquarters project. As you know, the design team and the police department have been working closely on this project over the last 2 years. We had our initial public meeting for the project on December 8th, 2020, when we came to the public for input on your vision and your ideas for the project. Then the design team incorporated this information into our concept design for the new police headquarters. The team presented this design at our second public meeting on June 1st, 2021. The team took the feedback that was received at this meeting and integrated it into the schematic design plans for the project. At this point, the design team has started into the design development phase, and we look forward to showing you the progress we've made and the ways in which your feedback has been incorporated into the overall project design. The next step in the project is to finish the design development phase in the first quarter of 2023. Then we'll move into preparation of the final construction documents, which will be completed in the fourth quarter of 2023. The next public meeting will present the final design, both for the building, the site plan, and the landscape elements. After that, the project will complete the final permit approval process, concurrent with construction procurement, finalizing the guaranteed maximum price for the project together with our construction management at risk partner, Moss & Associates. We anticipate these steps will be completed in the second quarter of 2024. We will have another public meeting at that time to let you know what to expect during the construction phase of the project. We anticipate the construction of the project will take approximately 2 years, which places project completion in the second quarter of 2026. We will continue to work closely with our construction management at risk partner, Moss, to continue to refine the construction schedule as the construction documents are developed. And throughout this process, we've also made regular presentations to the General Obligation Bond Advisory Committee, and will continue to do so through the remainder of the project. Next slide. Oh, at the first public meeting, we asked for your input on the vision for the project overall, and we gathered information on how you anticipate using the overall site. The priorities that were expressed by the public at that first meeting were to have a welcoming police headquarters building that's open to the community, with an inviting and well-landscaped space, making the building a real community landmark. At the second public meeting, we received additional feedback that the community was looking for a buffer space between the proposed police headquarters project and the community to the east. The community was looking for that buffer space to extend up to Hollywood Boulevard, providing buffer between the community and any future development on the site of the existing police headquarters building. All of this input has been taken into account as the design team moved forward with the project design. And here you can see the overall site plan for the new police headquarters project. You can see Hollywood Boulevard to the north, South Park Road on the west, and Entrada Drive on the east. As you can see, a buffer of green space has been added between the new police headquarters and the adjacent community in response to these public comments. The dry retention and buffer area extends up to Hollywood Boulevard, providing a landscaped area screening both the new police headquarters building and any future development to the north. This area will be dry most of the time, but during storm events, water will temporarily accumulate in this area to allow it to percolate into the ground and meet water quality requirements before it's discharged to the next stage of the stormwater management system. To the left of the site, you can see the linear park adjacent to the new police headquarters, which will be designed and constructed as part of this project. The concept is for the linear park to ultimately be extended all the way up to Hollywood Boulevard in the future once the northern side is developed. And now I'd like to turn the presentation over to Ed O'Donnell to discuss the site plan in more detail.
Thank you, Heather. Does this work? This way. No, you can't hear me, huh? Okay. Good. Oh, great. Thank you. So good evening again. So this first slide that we're showing you is our floor plan, which is the addition to our site plan. And you can see the building is massed with a one-story wing to the north and an L-shaped three-story wing to the south and to the west. Also has a three-story secure parking structure within the facility that'll be used for police services. You'll notice that the site plan has got 3 entrances and exits. The one to the north that's for the public access to the building. I'm winging it. The one to the south is for police personnel, entrance and exit to the site, into the secure area, to the building. And you'll also notice that there's a third emergency entrance and exit to the building that is only to be used in an event of an emergency, because things may happen out on South Park Road and the police may need to get out of the facility in an emergency. So that's what that's there for. Next slide. So as Heather showed you, we're in design development this evening. So what we're showing you tonight is where we are in the development of our project. So we've said a number of times tonight that Chief O'Brien and the command staff are looking for a facility that's part of the community. It's well community. I think you'll see that reflect picture. So this building has a one-story mass along the north side of the building to give it a human scale, and a 3-story setback massing for the rest of the building. You'll also notice that there's a tower element that speaks to the civil pride and creates a landmark location for defining the public entry. Next slide, please. So this is the South Park Road side of the building. You'll notice that the architecture of the building, the public entry along the tower is a very transparent glass. And you'll notice that the police functions beyond are a more secure location and a more view. You'll notice that the one-story human scale is translated across in a horizontal element that runs the length of the site. It should be noted that since we're only showing the building tonight, that the trees on South Park Road are omitted from the rendering, but they are not going anywhere. Next slide, please. This is looking north along South Park Road, and this is what the secure entrance for the police department vehicles is going to look like. You can also see the beginnings of the linear park along South Park Road. There we are. This is the view from the north. And again, the one-story massing creates a rhythm to vitalize the streetscape. There's a public entry along this for property and evidence return, as well as internal affairs. The building ends in a screen wall to obscure the equipment held within. This slide is the entry plaza. It's a very important plaza. It's the police department and the public first meet each other. On the circle is the location of our memorial, which is going to be very similar to what is on the existing building. John, would you like to? The memorial will be designed very similar. There it is. So this is the public plaza showing the police memorial. The memorial will contain bench seating and contemplative spaces, also beginning to see the linear park down South Park Road. Next slide. John.
Hello, I'm John Marino. I'm the major in the Community Affairs Division, and the new police department comes under my purview. So there's a few things. I've been on this project with this crew, and it's been fantastic going through and seeing what's going on. Just to let you know, I've been in Hollywood for almost 27 years as a police officer, and lived in Hollywood for almost 20 years. So this project directly affects me, and I really appreciate what this DCM and LDP and HOK and Jeff and the rest of the crew are doing on it. So we just wanted to go over something about the community room. You know, we wanted to have the police department and the community collaborate. So here you see the existing community room we have right now. Many of you have you been in it? And it's about 950 square. If you look at the 1,600 square. 1,600 square feet. We can actually divide the room. There's a three-function area, and there's a larger lobby for the front. And just, you know, I know Ed talked about it earlier. So if you look on this side, you walk in and go right to the records room. And then you can also have homeowners association meetings. Right now we have our community affairs is doing their what's that? I just want to make sure that people are.
Yeah, let's resume, but
Okay.
okay, I mean, I can.
All right, yeah, I just, because it keeps
I know.
breaking up and it's, yeah. So we have a meeting tonight. It's a 10-week program. The community affairs division is running it. It's our peace program that we have 10 weeks. So we're doing that right now. And this is, we also have, like I said, if you don't see it there, you know, for what we just had in the past, you know, with the hurricanes and everything else, there's going to be rooms in the back for, you know, kitchens and officers will be able to come here and stay in this room as well if need be. So the room is going to be much more a community collaborative effort going forward, as you can see. And we really hope that this brings the community and the police department together more. And if you saw renderings, all along here, this will all be windows as well to the community on the outside. I'll be available for questions afterwards too. So thank you.
So adding on to that, this is actually the rendering of the interior of the lobby. looking in at the police department information desk and the records over to the left. And then you will also see the pre-function area leading to the community room down the right. And then the last slide, please. This part. And this is in the lobby the other direction. It is, again, transparent to the outside, which we'll be looking at the linear park. And that is reflected in some of the architecture where you see the tree-like diagonal columns. Next slide. Robert, are you with us
I'm here. I don't
to
know.
speak to the sustainability?
Can you guys hear me? Hello? Hello?
Robert Karamitsos?
I can hear you.
You can. I don't think they can. Do you think they can hear us?
I can hear you.
I wonder if the public can hear, if we're just in this thing together. Great. I apologize for not being able to be down there with you tonight. It's been a labor of love with all of the participants. We at HOK kind of echo the concern or the sentiments of everyone on the team that has been working together. I know when we first interviewed for this project, the community outreach was an important aspect of the police department's aspirations for the project, and we've embraced that wholeheartedly. One of the things we're also proud of at HOK is our sustainability. We're one of the leading architectural firms in sustainability, and we are taking the lessons learned that we've had over the many years and applying our innovative sustainability process to this project. And rather than just kind of checking boxes and things, we started off at the very beginning to analyze the site to take full advantage of the sustainability options that we can take advantage of for the site, selecting the appropriate mechanical systems, proper orientation of the site to leverage the solar heat gain. So it's been a great process. We're still in the middle of it, and we look forward to continuing. We'll be around for questions if you have any towards the end. I can't hear anything on the other end, but I hope you all heard me.
Hey, at this time, we'll pause for just a few minutes and take any questions that you might have on what's been presented so far. We're going to do this a little informal. If you've got a comment, just raise your hand and I'll pass the mic right here.
I think that's okay.
Okay.
I was just
I
curious.
just want to make sure folks online can hear.
I was curious in terms of sustainability, is it feasible for a building of this size and area to, and have you explored, or did you explore and it didn't work out, of solar energy? Is it possible to go solar for a building like this? Did you find that to be
Yes, it is possible, and it's unlikely
Can you hear
that
me?
so
We're currently making we haven't decided yet, either the roof system or the top floor of the garage PV panel ready. And then we're going to look for opportunities and grants to put the PV panels on. We're also doing things with car charging stations and other sustainability efforts, hard word, sorry. And the building is currently designed to LEED Silver standards.
to help out with the reimbursement and
There-
sort of tax credits?
There's a lot of grants and things out there. We're actually applying for 2 right now. But as far as specifically for solar, that's not one of the areas that we are looking.
How wide is the buffer area on Entrada Drive?
plan. We can wait until that, we'll talk about that. So that's part of the presentation of the site.
And if you still have questions after that, we'll have an opportunity to address them.
When you went over incorporated feedback, I appreciate included what is that there was no addressing of the that it was just totally ignored, which to me a fair patient would say why this was what we heard from stakeholders, and this is the reasons, pros and cons, why we decided against that. So like, for instance, and I'll just make this short, and listen, thank you for all the work, and it's a wonderful presentation. And, but like, we never had a comparison where we wanted the North Platte. And I don't know if the design team was given the choice of, or the city manager just said, we want it built on the South Platte. So there was never any given to us that showed a traffic flow study that showed what the effects of drainage would be if it was on the North Platte or the South Platte. Never brought back that information to the community, never brought back the cost differential of building on the North Platte and the South Platte. Were any of these things considered? And why do we not have that information come to us?
Yep. So all of those things were considered, specifically the stormwater and site security when the site was determined to be on the south. And we can talk about that offline if you'd like to see some more information. But yes, those things were specifically looked at when the site was chosen. So the architects are part of the decision-making, the entire team, but really it's information that they give us and leadership that makes the holistic decision. It's not just architects. We have to do stormwater studies. We have to do traffic flow studies. We have to do all of that in conjunction and make the best decision that we can. And as a city, that's the process that was followed. It actually took around 8 months to do that entire study. And the design of the project was put on pause for us to make that final decision. Yeah. One is in the same site place, but this is 3 dedicated, and now we have a secure dedicated to the other side, which is Entrada. And I think it was my 3rd or 4th day on the job. I've been with the city almost 2 years now, year and a half. We had a meeting in this exact location. I remember Mr. Cortez talked about a lot of the information you're asking for, and so we can resend that to you, as well as we presented it to the commission about 3.5 months ago. This especially specifically the stormwater and some other options. So again, we'll be glad to revisit with you, Tom, if you'd like, and talk through those. But I believe that we did talk about all of those ideas and options at some point. Okay, our apologies if we left something off.
I would just like there on Park East, if it's going to cars any longer, also with the any flashing, or will it with anything that we have around?
Yeah, so I'll answer that in 2 parts. So the radio tower we're going to get to next, so we'll answer it with that, and I'll have our consultants address that concern. But the lighting for the site lighting has not yet been designed yet. So we will take those options into consideration. I don't know, Ed or Robert, if you want to add to that, but the site lighting has not been designed yet. So we'll take that into consideration.
Yes, and the site lighting is required just to have we can only have a half a foot candle at the property line. So that is actual code and we will meet that.
I didn't want to sound like a naysayer, but here's the good part. I think our community really likes the linear park. The linear park tied into the very, very important for us to have a nice memorial that's also a green space for our police officers with all that they do. And we love that. We love the glass window along the linear park. We thank you for having a good community room. Okay, those things are like a tremendous need. And those are the things that we really think that you've really listened to. And, we don't get everything, but I always wanted those little yodels, my mom to bring yodels home for me to eat all the time. And I didn't always get those either. Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments at this time? And I'll just emphasize that, we do have some on there. We do have some online that we'll read. But I'll just emphasize that this is being recorded. We are going to follow up. The recording is going to be made available to everyone on the project website, but we're also going to make note on information that you feel you don't have, and we can certainly add that to the website. Please make sure you sign in and we can follow up in an email as well. So, we'll read some of the comments in the chat. Nope, none. We have one comment. It's actually a question. Will there be space for the public to meet other people in a safe environment, such as a place to meet for Craigslist or offer up transactions?
Yeah. We actually have talked about this before, and it's something the design team talks about a lot. So the lobby will be a secure location, and then there's also the community spaces that we talked about on the first floor that will be open and accessible to the public to come in, and it will be a safe place.
So at this time, we'll close. Oh, sorry. One more comment.
My question is, what is the plan, if any, for the current police building, which will no longer exist once this one is up and running? What's going to happen with that big space?
So there's no plan currently for the current police headquarters building that sits on Hollywood Boulevard as far as what will go there. Eventually, it will be demolished. After this building is built, it'll take a little bit of time, a few months for these guys to move in and get all of their operations up and running in this facility. But eventually it will be demolished, but there's no specific or permanent plans yet for that area. No, not now. Else? Okay. Yes. Sure.
Good evening, and thank you for the question. Of course, I'm being your mayor, Josh Levy. So with regards to that corner site, as you know, it was generally regarded as a site for potential future commercial development once the police department vacates. But since then, and while that remains an option, we have approached the Broward County to consider the relocation and reconstruction of a new county courthouse, because the current one is outdated and they already had thoughts and plans and intentions to build a new one. And so we offered this potential site as a site that the county ought to consider. I think a courthouse is something that is an important institution for a community. And if it has a prominent location on that corner and continues that and joins with the police department to create a large municipal / community campus there, then I think that would be very compatible with what we're building there with the police department, and also provide a lot of great services for the community. I also mentioned to the county the opportunity to have small offices within the courthouse complex, let's call it, that could have offices for the property appraiser, for to renew your car tag, different county services. Or right now, us in South Broward might have to drive to the central governmental center in downtown Fort Lauderdale. Let's save trips for people in South Broward. Let's not have them have to take their car, add to congested traffic, pollute, et cetera, and go all the way across town to do something that the county ought to be able to facilitate for us in our regional areas of the county. And of course, this would be the South Courthouse. They ought to provide those offices I suggested as well in the North Complex, in the West. Let's, break up the need to drive places and have services closer to where people are. And of course, in South Broward, this would be a central location for those services. They also love the idea of having the courthouse there because Hollywood Boulevard is planned to also be one of the main corridors for public transportation, what the county is calling its Primo plan for bus rapid transit and a major east-west corridor like it is today, but it's going to have a little bit more of the county's new, more modern electric type transportation solutions that are the main east-west arteries that'll connect, we hope in the future, as DOT just approved funding for today, the Broward commuter rail that'll run along the north-south, of course, Dixie Highway and Hollywood Boulevard being part of it. So a lot of great synergy and compatibility with the courthouse, even moving a little bit east to this corner. And then that would free up the courthouse location that is there now. We would take possession of that property as a concept and perhaps do a mixed use type residential / maybe some commercial opportunity there at the courthouse. So we would be exchanging properties. This one admittedly is more prominent and a corner property. But again, I think the commission feels good about the prominence of a new regional courthouse that will be here for the next 50 years. Let's put it in a prominent location and serve the community in that capacity.
Thank you. That was great. Yeah, thank you.
So thank you, Mayor. At this time, we'll close this portion of the public comment period and resume the presentation. Again, we'll have another opportunity to address questions at the end.
All righty, so the next portion of the meeting will be focused on the radio tower. And this is Alex Gill, who's online. I don't know if you have him teed up to speak.
I'm here. Can you hear
Gill
me?
is with GM Selby. We also have Gerald Zadikoff and Yvonne Zadikoff here from GM Selby. There are radio tower consultants and designers. Let me know when. Alex, can you speak and see if we can hear you?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thanks. So do you want to
Excellent.
start on this slide or do you want me to move to the next?
You can go ahead and go to the next one.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead and introduce yourself, Alex, and then we'll move.
Good evening to everybody. My name is Alex Gill. I work with GM Selby, and we are the consultants that were tasked with supporting the city of Hollywood and all of the other partners on this project in bringing it to conclusion and helping build a new location for the city and the residents and of the community. Our specific responsibility was the radio tower. As everybody knows, the existing location has a radio tower where all of the existing technologies that are utilized to support the city, to support the police department and some of the other organizations that are a component of the city. And the new location is going to require a new tower. So our objective was to design and construct a new radio tower to replace the existing radio tower. We did an analysis going through a lot of the documentation and gathering all the information. And what we found was the existing tower is essentially showing signs of aging. It's unable to accommodate the needs of the city. It was going to require replacement regardless. These towers are made of steel. And as time passes with equipment being placed on the tower, contact with the air, salt, wind, sun, and so forth, they corrode and they hit their limit in terms of their life cycle. And a new tower is going to be required to replace it. And that's essentially what we've been working on together with the rest of the engineering team. As of right now, where we sit is that the replacement tower is being engineered using the latest standards, which means that it's going to be manufactured and constructed with newer, stronger design assumptions. And the tower itself will be a much better solution and be able to meet the needs of the city, not only today, but in the future as the city's needs continue to grow and new technologies are required in order to provide a safe environment for everybody that's in the community. The concept and design phase of the proposed tower has been completed, and that includes the FAA approval, pardon me. And we've performed a geotechnical soil analysis, which essentially allows us to know what's underneath the area where the tower is going to go. And that's essentially what drives the design of the foundation. The PACO submittal was completed and submitted back on May 2nd, and now we're in the preliminary TAC review of the project. Very straightforward, as I shared at the beginning. The existing tower was going to require replacement, whether the new a new PD was headquarters was required or not. So we're moving in the direction of meeting the needs of the city and essentially ensuring that they have a very good, very strong tower to meet today's needs as well as the future.
So I'm also with GM Selby. Thanks, Alex, for that. I just wanted to add something that is very important to point out. This tower, the old tower, for example, was built under old codes. So it's not going to stand up to the rigorous, of today's code. It basically, if there is a major storm, that tower might collapse, especially it is slightly corroded. It has some issues. It is under the older code. The code has changed substantially since 20 years ago. And the new tower is going to be able to withstand major hurricanes. We built, just so you know, we built over 1,000 towers throughout the United States. Not one of our towers has ever fallen in a storm. In hurricanes in North Carolina, in hurricanes in Florida, none of them. And so we feel very proud of our capability of designing towers. And today's foundations are also completely different than they were 20 years ago. So I think from a tower point of view, this will be one of the safest towers around. And especially because it needs to be used by the city and the city's emergency police department. So it is an important aspect of the community.
Thank you, Gerald. We're going to move on now to the stormwater management plan. I'm going to turn it over to Stefano with Kimley Horn.
Thank you, Heather. What we're showing here is the proposed drainage improvements for the project. The improvements were designed to handle up to a 100-year storm. So what you're seeing on the slide, the blue lines are showing the underground infrastructure, the piping, the manholes, and the inlets to catch the stormwater. Then we are routing it to the east, and we're showing a retention area, as Heather has mentioned. You will see that would be collecting the storm with the intention to route it to the south. We're proposing a temporary pond. This location is not finalized as there's no plans for the future development to the south currently, but that will be the plan where the location for the pond. We are growing an existing golf course pond that you can kind of see behind the aerial. And if that needs to be relocated in the future, or if a plan comes online before this is built, then we will locate it in its final home. But the intent is for all of the stormwater to be maintained on site with no impact to adjacent properties, no discharge off site. All of the stormwater will be handled on site.
Somebody had asked about the buffer zone.
Oh, yes, sorry. That back buffer, the dimension here, I apologize, we don't have exact, about 120 to 130 feet for that retention area that you're seeing in the back buffer. So that is the width of that retention area.
Thank you so much, Stefano. HOK online, right? Okay. Turn this back over to Ed and the HOK team who's online to talk a little bit about the landscape design.
Okay, do we have Xin Yi?
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So evening, everyone. I'm the landscape architect for the project, and we'll walk everyone through the landscape design concept for our site. The site contains a lot of existing natural resources, and the one thing that really stands out are the trees that are existing on the site. They are mature, beautiful, and provide quite some shade to the street and pedestrian. So we really want to evaluate the health and conditions of them and try to preserve them as much as we could. The overall landscape concept is using the natural resources and design element to create a linear park along South Park Road as a green necklace, and all of the public spaces located within the linear park will be the gems on the green necklace. And the linear park and open space together will be amenities gave back to the community surrounded. In the development of the Hollywood Police Department in the vibrant city, our team really focused on the landscape design for both staff and community to orient the outdoor spaces, including the entry plaza, linear park, and all the public spaces. Inspired by the building's linear pattern of the facade design, the entry plaza create a modern and elegant landscape solution for the main entry of the building and cohesively expand the space to the Police Memorial Plaza to accommodate the potential event space. The Police Memorial is an important part of the site. The goal of the Police Memorial is to create an outdoor space that honors the fallen officers through the ceremonies and, more importantly, all year round, with lighting, seating, and shaded design into the memorial space. Families could sit and spend time with their loved ones. It is a space to remember and a space to respect. A segment of the trail within the linear park is to be widened and next to the new police department building with custom bench seating which will encourage all pedestrians to pause and take a view of the nature around it. To enhance the existing habitat along the trail and linear park, existing mature trees will be preserved, native shrubs and ground covers will be added, also adding natural shadings to the climate and improve the pedestrian summer experience. Planting from the trail to the building edge will naturalistically swoop and with all the native plantings, local evergreens to maintain a cohesive and united planting design. All kinds of landscape elements and site furnitures will be incorporated into the linear park for the community to collaborate, including tables and chairs and bike racks, benches, side lightings, and sunshade.
Okay, thank you, Xinyi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Xingyi.
That wraps up the presentation. We will open it back up again for any questions and comments. Again, we'll take comments first here in person, and then we'll read comments from anyone.
And while you're doing that, Yvonne, I'll answer the question about the light on the new tower. Yes, there will be 1 to 2 lights. That'll be determined with the FAA review, but they will not strobe. They will be just like the current light on the tower that's at PD now that is not lit because it's under maintenance. So if you look right now today, it is not lit, but there is one there. So it will be 1 to 2 lights, but they will not strobe.
Yet I love the linear, and one of my concerns is safety. On the linear side on the road, is there going to be either landscape buffer that's hard so that some terrorist or crazy person wouldn't be able to drive their F-150 Ford truck straight into?
Yes, you're spot on. And so it's under design and review now, but there will be some topography and undulating of landscaping as well as secure bollards around the building so that folks can't easily get into the building. It's something that Chief and the command staff have worked with us pretty heavily on. So that's still under design, but there will be some
Okay.
security.
In a previous rendering, there was a retention pond put at the north side, flat, the corner of it, north of it.
Oh, I
And
remember.
They showed that, and it doesn't exist now.
Correct.
And I'm not saying for argument, it's just the thing said water must be retained on site. But the Orange Brook property is on the south end. That's not on site, but I understand the purpose behind it.
Yeah.
So I'm not opposed to it. And it might even work with other things that are going on.
Yeah, so at that point, I think we hadn't done the complete calculations and analysis. The retention to the right there, the green space, that's dry retention. That's more for water quality than quantity. And they finished up the design, Kimley Horn and Stefano's team, as far as how deep and how wide that pond needed to be as for the actual stormwater. And we know that now, and that will be coordinated with the Orange Brook project. Yes, there is a lake right there, and that's not the final location. I think Stefano mentioned that. That's just graphic to show the depth and the width that we do need to retain that amount of water after the calculations. But the idea will be to work with the Orange Brook design team to ensure that it is designed within their project. And it could be a lake, it could be a water feature, it could be 2 ponds, but we do have the calculation and know the size and the depth now. There's no plans currently. I think Mayor Levy gave us some more context tonight that there are some possibilities for that area, but there's no planned projects currently.
Even though there aren't any plans, are there things that are ruled out already for that spot?
There are
Like you know, an arcade or amusement park or something. I mean, I assume you've got some things that will not be considered.
Correct. There are some deed restrictions we have to follow, and certainly there's some things that the city would not entertain in that area.
Green space, that will remain going to they can turn around and build
On Entrada? Yes, no, that remains. That is green space, and that's dry retention. No. No. It's not wide enough or big enough for homes or anything like that, but it is going to be dry retention. A lot of those trees, and the reason for that green space is specifically up near Hollywood Boulevard and towards the middle of the site. Those are existing trees that we don't want to take down. They're beautiful trees. It'll be a public space, yes. Yes.
Is there any space for the public parking? Like if we have to go there for some reason?
Yep, absolutely. Let Ed and a little bit about that. Either one.
You can see the public parking contemplated to connect to whatever future development there is. It is to the north of the building. So it's to the north of the building, the public end being on the side. The public parking is along here, and there is a roundabout to bring you back out to South Park.
And there is special events for the community room. Our understanding from a previous meeting, then the area where the parking garage would be opened up for events that, like our civic association meetings.
After hours events and events for civic association meetings, we're talking through now. I don't know, Chief, if you want to talk through that a little bit more, but
Yeah, so obviously we got a large community room and we expect the community to come. So the parking garage we will control. So if we're having an event where we need more parking spaces than a couple dozen that are in front of the police department, then the community will have access and we'll have personnel down there to kind of guide for specific parking.
No, that's why we're here.
I have a question regarding the new tower. Will that be part of the future plan to be able to dispatch from there? Because I've consistently brought this up that I have called the police for emergencies and I let it ring 48 times on Saturday. And I had to call 911 just to report loud music coming from the JCs because I couldn't sleep.
understood. This is Raheem, Director of IT. And we were just talking through that a little bit. Not in the plan. The county tower is over 300 feet. And that's required to be able to do that. This tower is not, but it's not impossible, I'm told. We've talked through that a little bit, so we can continue to look at that, but that's not in the current plan.
Are there any other questions, comments? Okay, that we do have a couple comments from folks that are online. So Melissa, if you can read those, please.
Okay, the first comment is, I have been following this process and the location seems to be the most logical for the police department with their needs. The design is really monumental and futuristic. Great job so far.
Thank you. Design, PD and everyone in the community. Thank you for your input.
The second is a question. Will this new tower be part of the Broward County's 911 communications tower system? And if so, can it be used in place of the proposed West Park Tower?
We just answered that question. And again, the question is no. We'll continue to look. Hey, is that it?
but our team will remain, in a I just want to mention that, if you think of something when you leave today, you can get in touch with the team. There is a phone number, that you can call either today or at any time during the life of the project, an email address, and the new project website is actually live, newhollywoodpolice@hq.com. The presentation recording is posted on that website, and any progress reports and materials moving forward will be posted on the website. So we encourage you to check it out, take a look at it, and please feel free to contact us if you have any further questions. So
Thank you, Yvonne, and a round of applause for being our amazing moderator. And thank you all for attending again, and thank you for all of your input. We wouldn't be here without all of your input and the Go Bond. And so at this time, we'll be in the back if you guys have any specific questions on the renderings, the design team, and Heather and I to answer those. Thanks again.